All right, all right, all right. Uh, Good afternoon, guys. We are here with Mama Folami. Could you sit here and provide us with a quick intro of who you are and what you currently do?
Yes, great day, everyone. My name is Falami Irvine. I'm a fifth generation folklore healing artist. I'm from the Philadelphia area, born and raised. And I also do sister circles. I'm a birth worker also. So I do sister circles and I do birth works. And I work with younger children, teaching botany for children ages 3 to 5 years old at Kitty Prep Academy in West Philadelphia. I also am an author of ABC Herbal Coloring Book.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, Outside of botany and birth work, what else do you do?
I also do iridology. So as an herbalist, I do herbalism. I also do iridology. So that's the study of the iris, and it's able to tell you the different organs in your body. It can tell the strength and the weaknesses, and help you to better take care of yourself.
Okay, you said you do sister circles. Is this for anything specific that you do sister circles for?
Yes, I started doing sister circles back in 1990. I had a job at the Youth Study Center, and I started seeing the young ladies come in and out the penal system like a revolving door. And I started in my living room, start providing circles for intimate space where younger sisters can have a place where they can talk at and resolve different conflict. Because I knew growing up in Philadelphia when I was like 12 years old or even younger, we had Girl Scouts all over the community. Within a mile radius, you could find 5 or 6 Girl Scout programs. And I grew up in West Philadelphia, around 60th and Sansom Street. And so I think some of those outlets were not there for this younger generation. That's what they often share with me, that they don't have a lot of programs where some of the elder women are giving back to the young ladies.
Mm, okay, okay, okay. So, what were some of your what were some of your early experiences, early childhood experiences that influence your or shaped your values and interests?
I think first and foremost would be my family. I come from a really large family, and I would spend my summers. My father was from Hanover County or Doswell, Caroline County, Virginia. So I would spend summers. I had an uncle named Uncle Jim, James E. Rollins, and he would take us in the summertime to Virginia. So on those trips to Virginia, I remember my grandmother, the first herb she ever gave me was sassafras tea. So I never forget learning about the different herbs and how that country living was, and then coming back comparison up here, back home to the city. So, but in the city, I had an aunt Betty. She was really the first one who really did a lot of things with herbs, and her and my uncle Jim. And down south was my grandmother, Mary Ellen Carey. But also my aunt, she was a nurse, Ann Wyatt, my aunt Ann Wyatt. And then later on, her son will become a naturopath, a doctor, Frankie Wyatt, and her daughter is a nurse practitioner. So the healers were kind of all over in my family on both sides. So that was my formative years as far as, really getting into understanding about the herbs because they had different kind of remedies. I remember my uncle giving me pineapple for a sore throat or, different I remember Aunt Betty would tell us about using castor oil and on your hair and on your skin and different things like that. So that was as far as that was concerned, as far as the herbal part. But the part that made me really want to be in the community, I would say, would be for my church family. I was raised at a church called Union Tabernacle Baptist Church, and the minister there, he was from South Carolina. His name was Reverend Jacob Haynes, and he would call me grandmom. And I remember it was countless. It was so many elders that just poured into me. They always told me you want to be somebody. They would have me talk and speak, and my siblings as well to have us talk. And we had to do those different poems on the different holidays and different things like that. But they just took a lot of time. They were really, that was the village. That was the village. And then I had the village in our community. Growing up on 60th and Sansom Street, we had a teacher across the street. We had lawyers, judges lived on the block. So those people were constantly always pulling into me. So that's why I know I have been charged to give back to my community. Because I tell people by the time I was 13 years old, I had over 100 people pouring into me. And I still made mistakes. But just imagine today, a lot of young people don't have what I was fortunate and blessed to have with so many people pouring into me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, Well, you kind of already spoke on how your community or environment contributed to your journey into holistic health practices. How did your family background, upbringing impact your decision to pursue a career in the military?
Um, my uncle Jim, he was in the military. I had three older brothers. They went into the Marines. Um, I first, to be honest with you, in high school, I didn't know about the opportunities for education. So a recruiter came in there. He was telling us that how you can go to college if you went to the military. So initially, that's when I first really joined the military because I wanted to get an education. I wanted to go to college. So that's how it kind of influenced me to kind of want to go in there. But I also liked the physical part of it, you know, because come from Philadelphia, we had an excellent gym program back in the day. Gym was really serious here in Philadelphia. We wore a bit blue like gym suits. The girls did. The boys had the white shorts, and we had to do a 600-yard dash. We had to do sit-ups. We had to hold on the reins, ropes, and all those different things. And it built you up. So a lot of times when we came into the military, you from Philadelphia, you really did well. You really did well on that PT test.
Mm. What do you think? Well, what do you think happened? Because the phys ed program isn't like that no more. Like, what do you
I
think
think
happened?
I think it's definitely by I think it was definitely by design, to be honest with you. I think the Philadelphia school system really was watered down. I mean, it had problems back there, don't get me wrong, but as far as physical, my siblings learned how to swim in the 4th grade back in West Philly back in the day. Um so, but as far as the physical part, they took all that physical out. I think when they had these different budget cuts, but that was the reason why some children came to school. They came because they had track team, we had basketball. I often tell people I went to Overbrook High School. If you look at Overbrook High School book in 1982, my husband graduated in 1976 from Germantown High. If you look at our yearbooks, I mean, you had over 100 activities. So activities is what sometimes lured and got the children. You had home economics. We had wood shop. You name it. We had, like I said, we had basketball, we had tennis, badminton, gymnastics, swimming, dance. You had bands. You had, I mean, go to the average high school right now, and there's very little things. Especially, I'm disappointed with Overbrook High School. All the things we had then back in 1982, and you fast forward 2024. I mean, teachers got paid less. There was less funding. But now today, you even have less students because it was more of us. We were like, the baby boomers. It was a lot of children graduating. Some of these schools, they only have 200 or 300 students. So you should be able to have a lot of programs. And a lot of times, I think what happens is the principals. The principals have to say so. A lot of times we are not able to go into the schools, people from the community, and offer programs. We understand these children because they're from our community. And they'll tell you, you'll say, I have a really good program I would like to bring into the school. And you know what they'll say? It's up to the discretion of the principal. And if that principal does not want you in that school, you're not going to be able to come. Although they're not doing the whole bunch of results or outcomes, but those principals, sometimes it becomes a power struggle, or sometimes they're one school told us, well, we don't want you to see what's going on in here. So that's why we don't want you here. And they didn't just tell that to me. They even told that to a friend's school. So I had Penn Charter come up and volunteer at Mifflin. And the principal was like, no, here's a school right in the community, a mile away. Penn Charter wanted to volunteer at Mifflin School. And the principal did, at that time, like about 8 years ago, she didn't want Penn Charter to come and help her students out. They're not, and at the end of the day, she's going to drive off. A lot of times, some of these principals don't even live in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big thing I think had with the schools. We lost a lot of black teachers. As I think about it, I'm looking down here at my board, and I think a teacher that had an impact in my life was Miss Winfield in the 6th grade. She really pushed black history for us. We learned a lot. I learned at home too, but she really advocated and put me in all kind of contests. I won every kind of contest in the 6th grade when it came to black history. But she is still, we had to learn Langston Hughes poems. They don't learn about, a lot of young people come out of college, they don't know about the Renaissance period or even before the Dark Ages, all we back to Kemet, all we back to Imhotep. They're not learning these things. So a lot of times I think it was all by design. That's what's happening with the public school system. And they don't want us in here because if we would come out and we would make a difference. I often think about a brother named Brother Sabor Muhammad. He passed away, but he had a program at oh man, it's that rec center in Southwest Philly. I can't think of it right now, but it was a rec center in Southwest Philly. Oh goodness, and he did a math program, a reading program. These children went up 2 and 3 grades. He could teach anybody math. Little girl was like, I was a straight F student until Mr. Brother Sabor helped me with this math. You know what I'm saying? And he really did a lot with the math programs. You know what I'm saying? And so I see people in the community really do miraculous things with children. And I was fortunate enough to have my children go to Pan African schools, independent black schools, African American schools, and you can see the difference. It's just sometimes it's they're going to put more into it. They got more vested. This is their community. And I'm thankful for those earlier educators that taught my children. The Mama Nia, she was one of my daughter's first teachers, Mama Nia Bay.
Mm.
And then she went to school. What's the school? Academy of the Way. It was on 60th in Baltimore. It was a Pan African school. My daughter also attended Dr. Kasima School. Her and sister Aisha. Muhammad Islamic Academy, Lotus Academy. And my youngest daughter, she attended a school with Miss Moretta. Was her first teacher, and they really prepared them.
Okay, okay, okay. So, can you share a memorable experience from your time in the military that had lasting impact on you?
I think in the military, the experience that really still stays with me today was the discipline. It was the discipline and the sisterhood and brotherhood that I had in the military. And when I say about the discipline was when you got to get up every single morning at 5 o'clock, you got to run 2 miles, you got to do sit-ups, you got to do push-ups, you got to do calisthenics, and your body get used to that. And you get up, and it pushes you because the body don't want to do things. But you when you get disciplined, you got to push yourself. Like you don't want to get up sometimes and do it. You push yourself, and you get up and you do it. And to this day, I still get up. I don't do all the things, but I still get up and do them push-ups. I don't know why I do them push-ups and sit-ups. I don't do that 2 mile run, but I will get up and do them push-ups and sit-ups still to the day. And as I was saying, I got a 300, so you get 300 points in the military. That's 300 points on the PT test. Each category you get 100 points, 100 for sit-ups, 100 for push-ups, and 100 for the 2 mile run. So you have to run the 2 mile run under 15 minutes. I think 60 or more sit-ups in 2 minutes, and 40 or more push-ups in 2 minutes. And so when I received that certificate, it was saying that when you do this shows your dedication. It shows discipline, and it shows leadership abilities. And I think those things really help me in paying attention. You really are taught to pay attention to environments and those survival skills they teach you. Those warlike, if you go to war, you learn to, because I was at peacetime, but we learned how to do things as we were in war times. Like often I was in the field for 30 days or more, where we getting washed off a steel pot helmet. You know, was no place to, you learn how to defecate and urinate out in the wild. You know what I'm saying? You a female, so you're doing some other things out there, and you're not being able to come back to base and get washed up. But you're out there, you're learning in 30 days to eat, and we got to eat sea rats, and I wasn't eating that kind of stuff. So you're learning how to survive. You're learning how to play different, not play, but you're learning how to do war games, how to shoot at nighttime, different things like that. So those things are memorable because those are things that really kind of it make you be aware. Trust me, when you walk in life, you're going to be aware around about your surroundings, and you know that you have people that would put their life down for you, and you put your life down for them, and you put your life down for the country. At first I didn't come in with that kind of attitude, but after living in different third world countries, I'm be honest with you, I know how people say let's go back here and there, but it's places that I just would rather not have been lived in or treated the way I seen us be treated. There are other places that was nice that you wouldn't mind being there, but there were places that nah, I come back here, I come back here to the States.
Okay. So, how did your military training service prepare you for your current roles as a herbalist and iridologist?
I think that how it prepared me is that if I'm not gonna do something, I'm not gonna give you mediocrity. I'm gonna give you my best. If I'm gonna be an iridologist, I'm gonna look into your eyes, I'm gonna study them, I'm gonna give you the best. I'm not gonna take no shortcuts. I'm going to use all the skills I got. So it taught you about that dedication, that commitment, and your work ethics. My work ethics and the discipline that you do when you be an herbalist. You don't want to do halfway. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes people come into it and they be about it for the money of it. So you know that when you get into it, you want to see people get better. And so that I think that military really helped me with the discipline. and knowing that I can't do no half behind job. I got to take it just like the real first job I ever had in my life was, being a soldier. So it taught me that, you gonna take this seriously. That it's just not for show to say, oh yeah, look what I did. But you want to see outcomes. You want to see the best for the person that you're working with.
Okay, okay. So, you spoke on this a little bit, but what exactly drew you to herbal medicine, and how did you start your journey as a herbalist?
I say it would come from my family. My grandmother, I was told, Mary Ellen Curie was definitely a healer. That somebody got sick in the community, and she made a mustard pack and put it on their chest or something. My uncle Jim, like I said, he would come in. He would have turpentine and sugar and pineapples, and he knew different things. And if you got a fever, they put an onion on your feet to draw the fever down. So I see different family members. And then by the time I become older, like a teenager, my cousin Dr. Wyatt, he really had got into the herbs. Oh, my Aunt Betty too. She knew about different. If it was any kind of thing, she would tell you about different things too. She was one of the first ones on my mother's side, and then my cousin Dr. Wyatt, he got a herbal store. But I was going to herbal hour with him before he got the herbal store, and he was really into the herbs, and he would be at all the family reunions. He would be doing muscle testing, and muscle testing is when they check your muscles up against like a herb or a body organ to see what you might need. You'll hold a herb and then they'll check that organ to see what kind of herb or something like that. So, and then when he got a store, Dr. Pruitt was working in the store, and she was saying he's having an iridology class, and she said, "Won't you come?" And then I start paying the money order. Then I got down to maybe the last two money order. She said, "Don't bring no more. You can come on to the class." So I came to the class, and after we had the class, I really enjoyed it. I started looking to eyes. We had a homework assignment to look as many eyes you can, and somebody raised their. So he asked us the next day, "How many eyes did you look into?" So one person, nobody really did their homework except for maybe a couple of us, and then somebody, she said she did 14 and I had did 20 or more, and so I won $100, and I ain't never looked back. I really like getting into iridology. I was able to see what was going on in the irises, back then, and see it today. I looked at some of them eyes back in 2006, and we fast forward now, I could see in 2024 some of the same things. Some people have passed on, and some of the things I noticed in their iris just as a beginner, you know um it manifests later on in life what happened to him.
Okay. So, can you describe a particular rewarding experience or success story in your practice as a herbalist?
Well, the first person that I worked on, it was real rewarding because they were healing and they were getting better. And that was the beauty of it, because that was the first person I ever worked with. And that was back in like about 1986. And I seen them improve. They knew they were improving. Their mom was glad they was improving. And then the sad part of it, and it was a good learning experience, they told me that they didn't want to take the herbs no more and they didn't want to live, and that I had to respect them. And so that's what herbalism taught me. My first experience is that herbs can heal, but when that person or that client get to a point and they don't want to live no more, they don't want to fight no more, and they don't want to take it, and they decided that they're not going to fight and they don't want to take the herbs, you have to respect it. And you can't push it. So it was good, and it was good that that was the first person I dealt with that taught me that. Because if I just had somebody and the herbs helped them and they got better, then you had to understand why that person got better. But now it was good that that person got better, but then didn't want to continue on because they felt like they did not want to be here no more and they didn't want to take it.
But do you know why they felt as though they didn't want to be here anymore?
Yes, because at that time, HIV was kind of like in the 80s, and then when you be here, you kind of ostracized, and then their lover didn't want them no more, and they knew that their lover didn't want to be with them, and then they just felt like they wasn't going to be loved, and they were really not treated the way, they have different things now with HIV, but back then, was not, it's just they didn't want to live. And they felt like how different people treat them, and they said when they would use spoons, how somebody would, different family members may treat them.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you were kind of ostracized.
Hmm.
You was looked at as like a black, like a plague or something like that.
Yes.
You know, and just like you said, nowadays they have medicine for stuff like that. But
Right.
even nowadays, if somebody tells you that they have a certain sickness or something going on with them, it's like, I don't know if I really want to sit here and deal with you. You
Right.
know, yeah, that makes total
Hmm.
sense. All right. So, what are some common herbs you find essential for general wellness, and how to use them in your practice?
Well, one of mine will probably be dandelions, one of my favorite herbs. The reason why it's kind of like a overall can help the whole body. It's definitely going to help with the liver. It's definitely going to help with the blood. It helps. It's like a diuretic. It has the different salts that the body needs. And then when I look at herbs, I remember a herbalist told me this: when you think about herbs, think about all the herbs that grow around you. The herbs that you had to go further out and get, you don't need them as frequently. The herbs that come closer to you, you use them more frequently. So say like back in the day when old folks used to call golden root, that golden seal, it grew further out. So you had to go further out. But they said the herbs that grew all around you would sometimes be like the dandelions, the red clover. Well, different things come in different seasons. So like right now, the black walnuts, it'll be a good time to start getting them, especially right now during the fall time. So black walnuts, dandelion, red clover, nettle, burdock, all these things. We see them so frequently, especially in the Philadelphia area. There's always around. Chicory is around. Um, just looking around here right now, the different things I seen coming up here. I saw echinacea. I see raspberry over there. What else do I see? I see some bitters. That's like yellow dock over there. So all of these things are kind of like things that are kind of growing around us. This I'm just looking around and looking at the trees that are around us too. It's a sassafras tree over there too. So I'm looking at the different things that grow around us that we see, and these are just pretty much. But I stick with many of the basic herbs, that are that we used it back in the day. I see a little bit of wood sorrel there. So these are some herbs that really can help you out and overall help the whole body out. When you think about black walnut, you look at the walnut, it's like the brain. It's good for the brain, it's good for headaches, it's good for parasites, it's good for intestinal things. So that's what I see a whole lot around here in the area we're here right at the Discovery Center. Those are what all the different herbs that I'm seeing right now while we're here, and that's the season. Now earlier in the spring we had a lot of cleaver out here. You don't see cleaver, you don't see dead purple nettle because those are things that you should be taking in springtime. So whatever you see still kind of around now, those are the things you can take. Pretty much, and some you can do pretty much all season. So looking at the herbs that are around us, that's what I'm say that would be pretty good.
So every season, you should be using whatever herbs are blooming or coming out during them seasons.
Yes, that well, it's like the summertime. So in the summertime, some of the things you want to eat is things that were kind of red. Like they said, it was God's signature, and He would make yellow things were for like the liver, red things were like the heart. White were kind of like for the lungs. So when you look at the things that grow around us, so we're getting ready to go into fall, then we kind of go into the winter. So in the summertime, we were dealing with things that were good for the heart, good for things for the tongue. So then we go into things that's good for. So the spring was wood. That was wood. That was the liver, and then the summer was the heart. So then now we're getting ready to move into like the fall. They call it fall, and sometimes they call it Indian summer. So that's kind of like the pancreas and the spleen. So we're dealing with the sweetness. We're dealing with the left side of the body. So we be dealing with things that would be good for the pancreas, for the good for the spleen. So they say what's bitter to the tongue gonna help on that sweeten stuff, sweeten up. So you'll be taking the more bitters, almost like in the spring is bitters. And then as we move to the winter, we get more into the water. But right now we're moving more into the things that's going to help support that spleen and pancreas. And we're coming up. It's still summer. Is still here, so we're still doing things for the heart. You know.
So how do you tailor your the herbs? Like not how do you distribute, or like how do you like do you make teas? Do you make
Yes, I make teas. So when you make herbs, you make herbs for individuals, and everybody. My cousins always say everybody has a body blueprint. So you would the last time we were fortunate enough to have somebody, and I was able to muscle test and tell that person what they need. So it would be like say like just a quickly. So Right here, I would check here, and I would say, "This is your crown." And I would check you. And if this was smooth, that would be yes. And if you flip your finger and it was rough, that would be your no. And then I would, different parts of your body has different points. Like say your right eye is vitamin A. So I would test your right eye. I would do thyroid here. Um, your sodium is on your left. Your potassium is right here. This is your point for your potassium. This is your point for your sodium right here in your left cheek, your right cheek, thyroid, and then you know your different organs. You got your heart, your kidneys back here. So you would check that person's different organs, their vitamins, their minerals, and then you'll see what they need for their body, for their own blueprint. What's good for Julius may not be good enough for Malik. It would be different things. So I would check you and I would do a whole inventory on your body. And I will also look into your irises. And that way you're connecting the dots. Because I may see some weaknesses that show up in your eyes, but it may be you might inherit it, but you just may have the inherent weakness and you have to work harder on it because you inherit it from your parents. So that's how you do it. But if people want basic herbs, somebody might say, well, I took the same thing. I remember a young lady came in the store and she wanted something because her girlfriend lost weight. So she took the GTF Chromium. She was like, well, why I didn't lose weight, but she lost weight. So when Diego muscle tested her, she didn't have a gallbladder. So her body has to work harder than her girlfriend. And plus she has some other kind of illness going on. So you cannot, just because your girlfriend could take the GTF chromium don't mean that you can take it, because again they have different body blueprint. And I left out Diego and Dr. Perlman. I study under them too in Dr. Wyatt's store, so I didn't mean to leave them out.
So you spoke on how you tailor herbal treatments to individual needs by doing a muscle test. So how do you stay updated with the latest research and development in herbal medicine?
So a lot of things I learned the folklore way that was passed down, and then the last couple years I went to Trinity School, and then I just finished up at another school. So I went to it's American Science. It's in Portland. So I went to another program near, and I went to Trinity. I took those courses online, and they deal with like journals and peers and different things. So when people be saying, and you learn about more about the counter indications, like different things that you may not want to take while you're pregnant, or if you on blood thinners. So I took a whole nother course. I stay continued. Every year I pay I pay or I invest. I read journals. I belong to two herbal circles where we talk and discuss about different things with herbs. So that's one is in Merlin. Um, that's with Molly, and then it's another one with Yolanda Joy. So I belong to two circles. So it's a bunch of herbalists. We come, we talk, we build, we share, and we encourage each other, and we share information.
So not only do you sit here and go to school, take classes to sit here and stay updated, but you also sit here and you're part of intimate circles where other herbalists are found, and you guys just sit here and exchange information. You guys just talk about what's going on and what you've noticed or what they've noticed and how they sat here and worked through it.
Yes,
Okay.
you have to stay abreast. You have to.
Mm. So you also spoke on how you not only were a herbalist, but you also did iridology. That you were iridologist. So can you explain what iridology involves and how it can benefit a person's health?
Yes. So in the eyes, it's you have an iris. That's your eyes. And so in the eyes, it goes around like a clock. And so the top part of the clock would be the top of your eye would be 12 o'clock. The bottom would be 6 o'clock. So this would all be your brain and stuff like that, you know. And then 6 o'clock is like your feet. In between is like your different organs, will like around your body, like there, your eyes, your throat, your ear, coming around, just like coming around your body, your pelvic, your ovaries, all that's around that 5 and 7, 6 o'clock, your uterus and all those
Mm.
different things coming around here, your kidneys coming around here. And so that's how the clock, and you can look into the irises, and then it has zones. You have like 7 zones, and you can look and you can see, it would show you it started with the stomach. You have like and it goes around the, so it's better to mark them off And so I would always give people a sheet, and so they could see how it would go. And then you could see different things. You'll see sometimes little little prints, little scars, little indentments that let you know that okay, something is going on in that area. And also when the person is healing, you start seeing white fibers show up in the eyes. It was said that a man had an owl, and the owl had broke his foot. And when he looked in the irises, you could see something on the 6 o'clock. And as he began to take care of the owl and the owl began to heal, you could see the healing fibers come around 6 o'clock in his eyes. So this is something that is not often used in the United States, they said, because you would see all the pharmaceuticals and the toxins that are given through all the pharmaceuticals and the medicines that people are often on. So they use this oftentimes in Switzerland and European countries, but actually it comes from Egypt. It really comes from ancient Kemet. It really comes from Imhotep. He was the father of medicine, and he was the father of iridologists. You see the irises on the walls. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at all the remedies that took place, it's on the papyrus papers. They're on the walls, the hieroglyphics, all of that. That's where it really all came from. And then sometimes it's like, here's the sugar cane. Then they take the sugar cane, they process it, and it becomes this white sugar. And that's how they do with a lot of the things. They get it and they redo it, and then kind of throw it and put it in different books. But initially, a lot of things we all know where it comes from, the cradle of civilization. So that's where it really initially comes from. So when you look into the iris, you have to have a loop, and you have it's like a magnifying glass and a little light, and some of them already have it, and you look in the iris and you can see what's going on. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. You know.
So you said the reason why iridology isn't really taught in United States or Western civilization is because these pharmaceutical companies will basically go out of business if we were able to sit here and notice our own ailments and sit here and combat our own ailments through herbal medicine or just natural means instead of sitting relying on these pharmaceutical companies who in all actuality they get a lot of their remedies from these herbal medicines and they
Yes.
sit here and process it and make it whatever they make it. Okay.
I mean, and that's another thing. When I first came into learning about herbs, the herbalist that outside of my family, when I started learning about herbs and studying, is a lady. She likes to be anonymous, but we would go to her herbal hour. When you came to her herbal hour, the first thing she did was she looked in your irises and she muscle tested you. Like she didn't just say like you say, oh, I got fibroids, I got headache, I got diabetes, and somebody say, here, take this for that. No, she did you as an individual. So that's how I learned the people. And I mean, I'm not knocking anybody that's a herbalist, but those are the people of teachers that I learned under. That's the way they taught me. They said you always want to connect the dots. You want to make sure that you are sure when you diagnose, well, not diagnose, when you come and you're able to look at somebody and you want to assess them better, that you are to use every kind of tool you have in your belt. Get as many tools as you can get underneath your belt, master them, be able to learn them. So you use iridology, but you don't stop with the iridology. You muscle test. You know what I'm saying? You scan the body. You do face readings. You look at the hand analyst. You look at the tone analyst. You do different things and you find out what's going on with that person. So you just don't like, okay, here's this. And you can give somebody something and it's like, it can work. You can have three people that you're seeing and you can give them the same form for high blood pressure and it may work for somebody. But the key is you want to get to the root. You don't want people to be on this certain herbs for the rest of their life. Like if someone comes to you with fibroids, if that young lady had fibroids for 5 years, you want to give her, put her on a program for 8 months, 8 months on a formula, herbal formula program. So for every year she has it, she takes them. The first three is for the first 3 months. You give her first 3 months, and for the additional 5 years that she had it, you want her to take them for 1 month. And what you want her to do also is not just the herbs, it's what you digest, what you're taking in. Do you get to come out in fresh air? There's exercise she may want to do. She may want to be doing some journaling. She may have these because she carries the weight of the world. She may work with extra females. She may have been violated. You don't know. So when you're getting to the root of it, you're getting to the root. It's not just I'm gonna take these herbs. You know what I'm saying? This your attitude has to be adjusted. There's things you have to do. This exercise that I show young sisters all the time they can do to get circulation, even getting up doing sit-ups, doing things for the body, winding the body, doing things to get your pelvic circulate, get circulation down there. You could put like warm compresses on there or different things like that. So it's not just the herbs are going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Your food is your medicine too. A lot of this food and the soils is kind of, so
Hmm.
you do may end up taking supplements. Some people say they don't take no supplements. They get everything through their food. And that's good. They don't have to take it. They probably lived a certain kind of lifestyle. They may not have to take it. But you got to exercise. You got to get fresh air. A lot of us suffer with vitamin D. We don't want to come out in the sun. It's sweating. We don't want our a lot of people don't want their hair to get messed up. People would not want. Some people don't go to the gym. They don't get physical. Some sisters, because they don't want their hair to get messed up. They don't want to sweat back down to Africa, whatever. But they don't want to get that. But in the long run, that superficial, you're not going to really get better if you don't come out and get some of this vitamin D. And I mean, it's been hot too. It just come out and sit on your porch sometimes. Sit out, get some fresh air. Come and get some fresh air.
Hmm. That's key. Yeah. I'm a big fan of this. Coming like I always feel recharged a little bit.
Hmm.
When I come out and I sit in front of the sun. And I just feel more at peace. Especially when I'm in nature by the water. That's always my safe space. It's
Yeah,
just
I love being by this water here.
Yeah, it's just so relaxing.
Hmm.
I'm a big person. For anybody who's maybe stressed out or anything like that, go sit by some water.
Yeah.
Keep the electronics away from you. Sit by some water and just breathe. Take
Hmm.
some deep breaths and just breathe. So, can you share an example of how iridology has helped someone identify or address a health issue?
Um. Yes. So, um, my husband kept on having these bad headaches, and he went to the doctors. They were saying nothing was the matter with him, and he kept having them over and over. And then he ended up having a seizure, and then he ended up having emergency. And I had looked in his irises, and I said, "It's something going on in your 12 o'clock area. Something going on with your brain." And they was like, "No, it's his sinuses because his headache is up here. He's having sinuses problems." Well, he ended up having a colloidal cyst up on his brain, and he ended up having an aneurysm. And so for 10 years, he worked with me. He was taking all his herbs. Now he do what he wanted to do. But the first 10 years, he did have that discipline. Now he at a point where it's the, I'm going to do what I want to do. So I let him do what he wanted to do. Because family, they the hardest people to work with. You
Mm.
can't really do nothing so
Hmm.
I let him do his thing. But initially, they gave him 2 years to live. And that
Mm.
was back in 2005, 2005 or 2006. They gave him 2 years to live. And this is 2024,
Hey.
and they left my husband to me. They didn't give him no after two brain surgeries. They was like, we give him 2 years to live. Oh, they wouldn't let him. They wanted to put a stunt in him to drain. They said he had stuff on his brains and they wanted to drain it. And he told them no. He said, I don't want to take that. He said, they said, well, we're gonna give you 2 years to live if you don't let us put this stunt up in you. They wanted to put it up in like his stomach somewhere or something. And he said no. And they didn't want to really give him no aftercare, and he had a doctor at Temple. I need to find her name because she was horrible. Um, and they didn't want he wouldn't let them cut on him again. He said nope. He wouldn't let them go in on him again. He said nope. He said that was a one and done, and he didn't want it no more. And so he's still living today. But
Look at how that works. They said we're going to give you two
yep, they gave
years.
him 2 years to live.
Look at what.
And then me too. Also, I had my daughter. My daughter was 5 years old, and I had went to a gynecologist back. She was in Chestnut Hill, African American gynecologist, and I told her, yeah, I said I was wondering why my mother had 7 children, and I said I only been pregnant one time. I never had miscarriage or abortion. So I was like, why I'm not getting pregnant again? And so she was telling me, well, you weigh 160 pounds, so you overweight. I said, well, I know people bigger than 160 pounds. She said, well, you weigh 160 pounds, and she took some tissues and stuff, and saying, yeah, you really had to lose some weight and everything like that. And then I went to go see this herbalist again. She muscle tested me. She gave me 2 herbs, and I was pregnant within 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've heard that
She
thing
gave
of.
me two. She gave me it was trace minerals. She gave me trace minerals and liquid fruit. That's all. She didn't give me a whole bunch of herbs, and she gave me that, and she was like, "Your work," because I was working at DHS at the time. She said you had a lot of stress or something on the work or something, more or less. And I don't know. She muscle tested me and she gave me 2 herbs, and I was pregnant.
Yeah, I heard that about like doctors aren't really taught in med school about nutrition, about
Oh yeah, they definitely don't know about
they don't
because
know
if you
about that.
see what the diets is. I remember when someone had breast cancer. And she was, they was giving her a horrible diet.
So we were just talking about your work with iridology, and that you're also a herbalist, but you're also a birth worker. Can you, what inspired you to become a birth worker, and how do you support families through the birthing process?
So this is Black Women's Breastfeeding Week. So that's
Oh,
the
wow.
first thing that kind of pulled me into being a birth worker, because when I was breastfeeding my daughter, I was a peer breastfeed, helping other mothers that was breastfeeding, encouraging them to breastfeed, because really breastfeeding was initially hard for me at first because I wasn't doing it right. And my little neighbor, she was 14. I was like, wow, she 14, she gonna do this. I'm 28, so I'm gonna do it too. You know what I'm saying? So, and once I got to do it, I was encouraging other young moms that were breastfeeding. So that really started in 1993 and 94. I was doing breastfeeding. My daughter was born 92. So I breastfed her to almost 94. So then after I was doing breastfeeding in 1999, my cousin asked me to take her to Germantown Hospital, where they were having a program where they were going to get people to help moms. It was the first doula program here in Philadelphia. So my cousin Valerie Holloman, my cousin Britt went there. And so I was just a driver, and I was sitting in the corner with my daughter because she was breastfeeding at that time. And so they said they were looking for doulas because there were young mothers that were coming here by themselves, and they needed someone to help them as they were birthing. And it was Sister Rose was the nun, and she was bringing the program here to Philadelphia. There's going to be at Einstein Hospital. So they picked several people, and she told me come sit at the table, and they picked me to be one of the doulas too. And then we started doing doula work at Einstein Hospital. And then later on, I met someone at Muhammad Islamic Academy, and she told me about Mama Shafia Monroe. At that time, she had a doula program, ICTC. And from there on, then I met Mama Cat, Mama Jerry, Mama Nana Leku, and Mama Claudia. They were all the elders, and Salama, the elders that I learned about birth working under them. So then I start doing doula work here in the Philadelphia community, advocating for moms. I never stop, but right now I'm caretaking for my mom. So I'm not out there like I used to be, but I'm still behind the scenes doing things and doing, I was doing baby empowering showers before the pandemic. I still am have a chapter here with Philadelphia Birthing Project USA. So I'm the Philadelphia chapter here. I'll be doing more things. I have college students that will be helping me in the fall. So looking forward to do more things with them. I was been doing things with kind of individual moms I've been working with the last couple of years, like helping them with breastfeeding, advocating, helping them do birthing plans, talking to them, doing virtual things more or less, not hands on as I must say I would like to be. Really advocated, helped out my daughter when she had her son. They had told her to go home, and I said no, her water broke. And the lady was like, no, we took the fluid. And I said, can you please go back and check it again, ma'am? And she did go back, and they found that her water was broke, and they let her stay. In those things, you just kind of know in your gut, you knew something that wasn't, right, and they did help out. So I'm still doing things. We just spoke on a panel at Swarthmore College. People still call, ask me for questions, and I still help out. If anybody, asks me for questions about doing doula work, I'm always here to help out, give people information, and share the information that I was taught from my elders.
So as a birth worker, you advocate.
Yes, I'm doing more advocacy now.
I'm saying in general, in general, a birth worker, they sit here and they tend to advocate for.
They not only advocate, they will help a mom with breastfeeding. They help with birthing plans. They help them navigate the system if they have a hospital birth. They'll attend home births. They can even help them with herbs, nutrition, help and always include the dad who's involved, help up with children. It's just like back in the day, we didn't have dudes. We just had women in the community that helped out. Sometimes they call them granny midwives, or just that woman that helped another woman out as she was going through this. This is a milestone that she's going through. This is like a whole nother rites of passage coming into motherhood. It should never be done alone. It should have all the support of every woman and sister. And whenever I see anybody that's pregnant, I'm always telling them congratulations. Because a lot of times in our community, mothers, Mama Shafi had taught us that a lot of times in African American communities, nobody tells them congratulations. When I got first pregnant, they was like, "Are you going to keep it? Or why are you going to keep it? You're in school. Do you think? Do you really want to keep it?" I mean, these are the things. Do they have the same father? They ask you these kind of questions. But if you're somebody and you're not African American, oh, will you be taking Lamai's class? Oh, we have a lactation counselor. There's a whole nother tone. Oh, we'll have this for you. You know, there's a variety of childbirth education space that you can take, and we'll have this. Do you have a birth plan? Who will be with you at the birth? Oh, we're going to take you on the tour and show you the birth suite. You know, this is still going on in 2024. There's still, not a lot of equity, and everybody's like, why are black babies still dying? Why are they still dying? Because back in the 1900s, you had 5,000 midwives, okay? And today, fast forward, you don't have that many in Alabama. You had 5,000. And so a lot of times when we come to the hospital, that's where the disparity starts at. You have people who do not understand you, your culture, and look at who's in the medical schools. So we don't see ourselves when we go to, and we have people that are very insensitive. They won't give us different medications. They won't listen. You see, well, you heard when something happened to Serena, but what happens to Serena happens to the everyday Shakina, Malady, the everyday young sister in the communities. This happens to them. They often go home, and they're alone, and they don't often have supports. And there's a lot of work they're doing. They're doing a whole lot of work. But if you really want to get to the root of it, you got to change the. You got to change this institutional. It's institutional. You know what I'm saying? You're still gonna go in the hospital. You ain't gonna see a lot of people that look like you now, and you see that home births are really good. But you have to take care of yourself, and you can't be really high risk in a home birth. And oftentimes, if you have a home birth, they understand things. Because, see, pregnancy is not like this real emergency thing. They have made it to be more complicated, because it's got more money. When you go in there, you can do C-sections and
I
do different things
heard.
like
I
that.
heard
And
about
the
that.
men want to be really involved in it, and they changed it all around. So if you can, I would say see about look up and get a midwife. See if you can have a home birth. And everybody can't do that, but if you can, and if you can't, you make sure you go in the hospital. You don't go alone. You have someone to advocate. And I know a lot of younger people today. I'm taking my boyfriend. I'm taking my husband. I'm not saying don't take them, but you need to get somebody who got some wisdom, know how to ask some questions, know how to advocate for you, know how to act under stressful situations, know how to do what they have to do. Get that elder in the family, get that midwife, get that doula, get somebody that's going to go and help you. But things are not, y'all still asking why y'all know what's the matter. Y'all know what's the matter. Y'all know exactly what's the matter. That's what's the matter.
I learned this recently. Is that hospitals are paid more when you have a C-section and regular birth.
Yeah,
It's really a money thing. I was
it
like, bro,
is.
what? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, they really just want to sit here and just take, 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 take. And just like you say, if you don't have anyone who looks like, who understands your culture, your body, whatever you go through, they kind of looking at you like, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. So that's real.
And I tell young people value in midwives, if anything happened at a home birth, it's gonna be plastered. If one thing go wrong, now babies die all the time at hospitals. But if a midwife something happened in the community, you will hear all about it. And I tell young people, I tell them, you know how y'all put all into getting the prime? Pay that money. I know people go all out for a prime. They go all out.
Yes,
How
they
you
do.
might invest in that prime and that baby shower, maybe you should invest in maybe a doula, a midwife, if you want to have these outcomes for your children. Because I said, when you get in the hospital, they get to acting. Sometimes people call me, they don't want to give you your placentas. They make all that money off our
They make that money. Yes,
placentas.
they
They
do.
make money off
They
those
make money.
placentas,
Yes, they
and
do.
they don't want to give you those placentas. It's a lot of disparities, and I say they often are met is because it's just like the schools. You go into the schools, and you see the disparities. I tell them
Eh,
it's until two different worlds and cities. If you look at an independent school, I used to look at my daughter. She used to go to Penn Charter, and I used to teach at Leveron. And I would look at the two different worlds. There's an on route gate in there. It's like a completely different. It's greenery. It's all nice, and children they don't even walk in lines. They don't even wear uniforms in some schools.
eh, that's real. So, how does your background as a herbalist and iridologist enhance your role as a birth worker?
I think for the sometimes the people that come in the birthing community, some people get doulas just to say they have one, but people that really take the holistically, you're able to refer to them and give them herbs. And some people you can't do that with while they're pregnant as a doula. It depends on the relationship. So it's really about relationships. Like, for me, I know that the red raspberry, some people say don't take ginger. I took it when I was pregnant. I know other people that took it, but they say don't take it. So it's kind of like with the herbs, you have to really have a relationship with that person, or they already, you want them already maybe be taking herbs and it can help them, because sometimes we listen to everything the doctors say. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So if you don't have that kind of relationship, you may not want to refer herbs to people. If that person does not take herbs and iridology, you can look and see things in the eyes, and you could tell people they may not be open to it. So the people that you work with, that you have a personal relationship, it's been effective. It's been helpful for me. But some people, they're not there, and I wouldn't introduce it to them because I don't want to cross any boundaries. That's their birth, and they may not believe in it. Some people, they just straight up don't believe in it. But I know how it's been beneficial. I've seen to help. When I was at my cousin's store, they were able to look at eyes. We're able to see different things. We're able to see fibroids instead of waiting until you get on the table. I know I had told somebody I seen fibroids in her eyes, in her irises, and she didn't really kind of believe it. And when she went to go have the baby, they had to cut out a whole bunch of fibroids.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yep. They said, she said it was all that kind of around. So it could help you. It can help you, showing you different things that you can improve in your health, you know.
So, can you describe a particular meaningful birth experience you've been a part of?
I think I think I think it would be a one with a mom, and it got to work with a elder midwife. You know, I think that was really beautiful because I had never had that experience. Like, you go to a hospital, her, and when you get to work with an elder midwife, and Mama Cleary was like, go over there and go work with her. And I was thankful for the mom. That, she allowed me to be there and to come off as a doula, and it was a beautiful birth. It was a home birth, and it was
Mm,
really, it was beautiful. I see how she, like, cleaned the materials. She sterilized things, like, very sterile. Mom was able to go in the position that she wanted to. I was able to bring tea and different things to comfort her till the midwife got there. um it was nice. It was peaceful. The other child was able to be there to see the child welcome to the world. And it was just not the energy that the hospital have. It's so, like,
mhm,
it could be so rigid, and all these
mm,
monitor this and all these different stipulations. You don't get to be kind of like see a mother just have a natural, beautiful birth, and
mm,
not all these interventions. And they looking at the monitor here. Oh, the heart rate is dropping because they want to hurry up and give you this pitocin, give you the pitocin, and all that do is end up having a C-section because the labor pains come more intensified. So, and this mom, she was like really, she was down for this home. She was built for this home birth,
mm.
and it was beautiful to be able to work. That was the first time I ever got to work with an elder,
Okay, okay.
you know.
So, how do you incorporate holistic practices into your birth work to support the both physical and emotional well-being of your clients?
I always tell mom, or mother told me, because you learn from other people. You learn from the people that you work for. You don't know everything, but wherever they come back and tell you over and over, and so many moms have told me this. One thing you told me to do was to talk to their baby, to really have a conversation. Tell that spirit, like, I welcome you. I don't know what I'm doing, and this is both our first times. So I'm just asking you to come make this, make it good, so I don't have to get no epidural. Like, they actually would say they would actually sit and talk to the baby, like the way I told them. I teach like a qigong visualization, tell them about different things they can eat. Eat as much okra as you can eat, because that okra gonna help their baby slide on out too. And just and I asked them to make a vision or dream board, which you visualize for their baby. And that's another thing with the other young lady that had the home birth. We went over. She did a vision board, how she seeked and how she wanted this birth to be. So visualize that. That's the getting with the spiritual. Taking time, being out in nature. Definitely taking
Mm,
moms out. I used to take them out to a different park in Wissahickon Valley, Valley Green, whatever you call it. They got like a little waterfalls over there, just sitting and being still.
mm,
Um, so it's like those different things that and eating different things you can help them with eating. And then that's the part, the baby coming here. Once the baby come here, knowing how to take care of the baby, the taking care of the cord, like, saving the placenta, maybe if you want to bury it, maybe different things like that. Talking to the baby, reading to the baby, having the energy around the baby while you're pregnant, you know, and you don't want to stress mother. So teaching her, reducing stress. You
Mm,
know, some moms even take yoga. You get yoga involved in it.
mm.
Um, Walks, like I said, eating healthy, a lot of exercising. You know, aqua aerobic, all those things are good if you can. I know some people have high risk and they have to lay in the bed, so I know they can't do those things. But if they're laying there, they can do some meditating. You know, sometimes I do a chakra layout when you put crystals and you just let them just lay and meditate with them for no more than 7 minutes. You know, you could do some coloring. This might be a good time to learn how to crochet.
Okay.
Do some creative stuff too. Do some reading to the baby. Get the dads involved too. Teach them how to do different exercises and hit different things. You show them positions and different things like that.
Okay. So this is a three-part question. What are some of your biggest concerns about the youth of today and their health? Concerns about the boys, and then concerns about the girls.
Um,
So the first question is, what are some of your biggest concerns about the youth of today and their health?
I worry about their health because they don't get outside and exercise as much. Um, I've been working with young people. They've had their gallbladders moving. They eat those Cheetos and the foods with all the dye up in them,
Yeah.
and they don't exercise. And they tell me now, and I know at one school it took 3 schools to make one track team. So we're
Wow.
not we don't have the activities. The children are not moving. They're
Mm,
just not moving, and with the technology.
mm,
And so I say the parents and the elders, and for those people, and there's some people, some children, they want their guidance, but there's some people they don't want it. So that's one of the things I think about with the boys and girls. I think for the ones that do want the guidance, I hope that we all can work together, that the elders and the youth can get some kind of person that they can look up to as an elder, a mentor, and we have this kind of multi-generational thing. That's what we need real bad in the community. And to be honest with you, everybody's not going to be saved. It's just unfortunate because
mm.
some young people, they don't want to, they just not open. They're just not open. And they say it's nothing new under the sun. I don't know. Cause woo. I think that some of the parenting, I think the parenting has to prove parenting. Think that we want to save the children. And I just heard a lady today going to the store. She said, I can't believe you. You set your such and such down and let me lift all these things out the car. And you know, make a lot of excuses for children. Um, and they're just not being guided the right way. I think some of them want guidance though. They want it. They want it. They we think they don't want it. They want it.
Yeah, they
And
do.
I think we have to change this. It has to be a balance. I know sometimes people think that back in the day people was too rough when they want to do this gentle parent, but this got to be some kind of it's got to be some kind of balance in all of
Mm-hmm.
this. It has to be a balance in this, and I think that it's going to be on both parts. It's going to take the youth and the elders. There's got to be some kind of we're going to have to meet together. There's going to have to be some kind of multi-generational conversations. We have to have some maybe old sit down, eat down at the table. Got to have some respect too for one another. Got to have some respect.
Mm,
Like I said, it was a time when I was growing up. It was within a mile radius. There were Boy Scouts and Girl Scout troops. Everybody belonged to Boy Scout and Girl Scouts. They don't have that now. And then some of the children be like, I'm bored. I don't want to do that. And then the parents, I think sometimes they're self-absorbed on this social media and they don't want to sometimes feel like getting up, you know, and they don't want to do it. A lot of them tell me they stressed and they got a lot of anxiety. And they tell me that's why they smoke the weed because it's good. They smoke the weed because they got a lot of stress and anxiety, but they still got stress and
yeah. Yeah,
anxiety.
you
So
still
I'm a little confused because everybody be telling me like, yeah, I gotta have my weed. I gotta have my weed.
yeah.
And they said, and I was like, why? And they said, because I got a lot of stress and anxiety. But this is the most more stress and anxiety I ever seen. So I'm kind of a little confused with what's up in the weed because
It's an escape. It's
it's
a
like
it's
y'all tell me
a
y'all stressing, y'all tell me y'all got the anxiety, but
mm,
I'm a little confused. I think y'all might have the anxiety and the stress, but we're gonna have to find something else because the weed is not working, y'all. Y'all, everybody coming and the clothes and the babies, everybody smelling like weed. We gotta find something else. I ain't taking all y'all weed from y'all, but come on, y'all, we're gonna have to find something else that balance because all the weed smoking, I don't know, cause I really don't know about. that we really being beneficial, y'all, because y'all still got the anxiety and stress.
So can you tell us about your concerns about the boys and then concerns about the girls?
My concern about the girls is I've been doing sister circles, and I don't see this some of the sisterhood that I wish that they could the sisters can have really have each other's sisterhood like that together, because they're gonna be mothers and the boys are going to be fathers, and I just think that we need help raising the younger the young ladies and the young boys, young men. I think we need help. They need help. We all need help. And I think we need some intimate places where we can sit down and really talk this out. We really do. We need some intimate circles where we can really help and talk this out. We got to hear where they coming from. Because I've been listening to them. For the last 20 years, I've been doing sister circles in the community. And I've been hearing them. And these are some of the things they say. Tell their mothers to keep some of these boyfriends and men away from them. They ain't no good. They be trying to crack on their little daughters. They feel as though sometimes they have problems with their mothers understanding them. Some of the things that they were taught, they're not teaching maybe not teaching their daughters. Sometimes they want to be their friends. They said they don't want everybody to be friends and Joe with them. They want people to really give them guidance. They do. They say at first it'd be cool when they let you do whatever you want to do, but then when you look at it, they feel like they miss out. Um, I haven't not really spent a lot of times with the little young brothers as much as I've been doing the sisters in the sister circles. Um, but I know that some of them do have the little boyfriends. So I think that some of the men are going to have to come and step forward and help them out. Like some of the stuff is basic, like starting at home. You know, basic things. I don't see like I guess I'm my measure is probably like my dad and my husband. I guess I'm kind of old school. Like they took out the trash, they did different things around the house. You know that I ain't had to do, and I still don't do today. I don't have a problem with it because that's the way I was raised. I know this modern time everybody can do everything, but I'm still that person. I
Mm,
like to do. I like when they do the things they do.
mm.
I mean, if I had to do it, I could do it. But if they did, they can do it too.
So letting a man be a man,
Let the man be a
you don't
man.
always have to sit here and sit in your masculine
Yes.
energy. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, you may know how to sit here and fix that pipe, but let that man sit here and fix that pipe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you may know how to sit
And
here.
just look at who's going to school, who's
Mm,
going to college, and who's not going to college.
mm-hmm,
So who's going to end up maybe making more money? Then how are you going to be able to handle that? And are you going to be bitter behind it because you didn't kind of put your best in things? Like be all you can be. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And and people be like, okay, I'm not gonna get this because people like taking advantage, like on both sides. Don't take advantage of people. Like go be with people because you want a place to sleep at, and somebody might have Section 8 or PHA, and you want to go live up with them, but you know your heart and your intentions is not right because there's nothing free in life. You're gonna pay one way or the other.
mm,
And just like if you're a female and you working a man, you're gonna pay one way or the other because that man gonna be at liberty to do whatever he want to do with that money and do to you. And just like a man, she can put you out anytime she want to put you out.
mm-hmm,
So for either person that's playing the other person, go in with right intentions, do right by the person, or don't be with them. If you don't want to do right, then just don't be with people. You don't want to be responsible, then don't do it. Be by yourself. But don't come messing up people's lives if you know your heart not in it and you just a user and you just want to, don't be a user because being a user, it's going to come back. It's going to get you eventually. Slick ain't got no name, ain't got no sorry. Get you today, get you tomorrow. So being slick, it's going to get you. It's going to balance out one way or the other. If it don't get you, it's going to play off on your children yet to come.
mm,
So just be careful how you do people because the way you do people, somebody going to do you or do yours like that. It's going to come back to you.
yeah,
So ain't nobody never really getting over. You think people be kind? You think they slow because they kind and good to you? Nah, mm-mm.
mm-hmm,
They doing that because they on a higher level, and they know they just doing what is right. But eventually, they snatch their rug underneath you.
mm-hmm.
So just stop trying to play people and try to use people. Work hard for what you want. You want something, work hard for it. Don't always try to go for the easy way out.
Hmm.
And if somebody working hard, you want to rob somebody that work hard, but you don't want to do the same job they did. Like, makes sense.
So, where can people find you on social media? And you also have a nonprofit organization. So, could you sit here and tell us a little bit about your nonprofit as well?
So I really have my LLC, and it's called Precious Jewels Prevention Program. It's a mentoring program. It's for girls from the womb to the tomb, helping out in health, education, just social well-being, cultural awareness, all those different things. There, I'm on Instagram, Precious Jewels LLC. And also, I'm working on doing me a YouTube channel, and I have a ABC Herbal Coloring book that can be bought on Amazon. And also, I'm working on the ABC Herbal Activity book, and that's going to be more for homeschoolers and educators and science teachers, really wanting to make science fun for young people. So I'm really into the botany. I really am. I really want to whet the palates of these young children and get them in. They don't all have to be scientists, but you are science. You need to know you 75% water. You know, you like
Mm.
360 degrees. You need to know all these things.
So, what is before we leave, before we end things off, um, what is one message or quote that you want to leave with the people?
Um, it's a quote. It's called when I think about for my for sister circles. I always say, "I am because we are. I am because we are."
Can you break that down a little bit for the people who may be a little confused as to what that
Okay,
means?
so I always tell people it's important to know who you are. I am Falami Irvine. I'm the daughter of Cecilia Carey, the granddaughter of Latoya Outlaw, the great granddaughter of Mamie Holloman, the great great granddaughter of Eliza Mitchell Holloman. You need to know who you are. I am because of all the their DNA runs through me. You know what I'm saying? And on my father's side, the woman of my father's side, I am Mary Ellen Carey's granddaughter. I'm Hadia Morris, great granddaughter, and Rachel Iverson, great great granddaughter. So when you kind of know who you are and where you come from, it's like a circle that's unbroken. You know your DNA, you understand, because you got to understand we deal with epigenetics.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's good to know the good and the bad because all that DNA from everybody, all those women I just called forth, some of them came through a lot of trauma. So I
Mm-hmm.
carry that inside of me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's called epigenetics. So we're carrying the energy of our ancestors. Some of our ancestors were in deep depressions. Some of them had to jump over top of out the water. Some of them were healers. Some of them were singers and dancers. All that stuff. I embrace all of that. The good, the bad, and all of it. And knowing that I know it, this is how I kind of understand it. I have to maneuver in life. I got to understand when those spirits and those energies come on me that may have been some of my ancestors' energy that were not as elevated or highly elevated. I got to know to tap in and tap out and let it go. And you got to know how to find balance. So I am because we're like one unbroken circle that's just keep going around and around, but understanding it too. So I am all those women that came before me, those women who backs I stand for. I come through my father and my mother, Cecilia Carey and Lawrence Carey. So I bring all that energy.
Okay, okay. All right, guys. I want to sit here and thank Mama Falami for
And thank you, Jules.
allowing me to sit here and interview her so that we can sit here and get this information out to the people. Hopefully, you guys were able to sit here and learn something new today. All right, bye, guys.